which has an option that allows the member to put up his or hand to raise points of order. The Secretariat
Can you switch off one so that I'm just on one?
When using the visual system, members are urged to refrain or desist from unnecessary
Now the view doesn't show.
points of order or interjections.
Does it show? On you?
We shall now proceed to the order.
Well, here it doesn't show. It just shows the frame of the door. No flag, nothing.
And traditional affairs appropriation bill. I now recognize the Honorable, the Minister of Cooperative, Governance and Traditional Affairs.
Thank you very much, House Chair. Deputy Minister Bapela and other deputy ministers who are here, Honorable Chairperson and members of the Portfolio Committee, Honorable members, Chairperson of the National House of Traditional Leaders, Chairperson of the Commission and Promotion and Protection of the Rights of Cultural, Religious and Linguistic Communities, members of the Provincial Executive Committees, Chairperson of the Municipal Demarcation Board and its members, President of the South African Local Government Association, Chairperson of the IEC and members, Directors General of DCOC and DTA and the CEO of MISA. Today we stand in front of you and before the nation to present the budget votes 3 and 15 as proud servants of our people. We do so proud of our achievements and cognizant of our challenges that lie ahead. Today is 27 years and 3 days since the inauguration of our first democratically elected president, Dada Nelson Mandela. We recall that on that occasion, Dada said, I quote, "We pledge ourselves to liberate all our people from the continued bondage of poverty, deprivation, suffering, gender, and other discrimination," close quote. We also reiterate the words of the former Secretary General of the United Nations, Kofi Annan, who said, I quote, "Extreme poverty anywhere is a threat of human security everywhere." To these words, we add that injustice anywhere in the world is a threat to human security everywhere. We take this opportunity to denounce the recent attacks by Israelis and renew our solidarity to the Palestinian people's legitimate struggle for freedom. We also call for all cessation of hostilities. Honorable members, we celebrate 150 years of a fighter and defender of justice, Mam Charlotte Manye Maxeke. Her exemplary life in struggle and service of the people inspires us to act selflessly. Her legacy compels us to stand on the side of the masses of our people who are still hungry, poor, unemployed, unequal, discriminated, and economically excluded. These budgets lay a solid foundation, and other budgets, to set us on a path towards building resilient, safe, sustainable, prosperous, cohesive, connected, and climate-smart communities. We also subscribe to the truth as laid by our former ANC President, Comrade O.R. Tambo, who said, I quote, "It is inconceivable for liberation to have meaning without the return of wealth of our country to the people as a whole. To allow the existing economic forces to retain their interest intact is to feed the roots of racial supremacy and exploitation, and does not represent even the shadow of liberation," close quote. Vote 3 sets aside over 100.8 billion in the 2021-22 financial year. 96 billion of that allocation constitutes transfers and subsidies to municipalities in the main. Vote 15 allocates 173 million to support developmental traditional leadership, which promotes participatory democracy and rural development, as well as agriculture. Honorable members, we confront this daunting task in the midst of the biggest pandemic and economic crisis since the Spanish flu of 1918 and the Great Depression of 1930. COVID has therefore placed added pressure on government services. Despite these pressures, our internationally acclaimed response to COVID-19 has stood the test of time. It has confirmed the resilient and fighting spirit of this great nation. The President, in the State of the Nation address, likened this spirit to that of the fynbos, which he said can adapt to dry, hot summers, cold, rainy winters, is wondrous in its diversity, close quote. Indeed, our response has been adaptive and has harnessed our nation's diversities. Guided by the Disaster Management Act and the risk-adjusted strategy, which has been strengthened by the sacrifices made by millions of our people. However, the war has not been won. There is an ever-present danger that the rate of infection may rapidly increase. Even as we roll out the mass vaccination program, vulnerabilities are high, particularly amongst the young. More than ever before, we must adhere to the protocols of masking, washing hands, sanitizing, and maintaining a safe social distance. We extend our condolences to the families, friends, and colleagues of MECs, members of parliament, and legislators, councillors, as well as community members who have lost their lives and lost their loved ones. Those include traditional leaders such as King Goodwin Zelutini Kapegu Zulu, King Victor Tulare, and the Queen Noloyiso Sandile, who have succumbed to COVID-related illnesses. Of course, we also take this opportunity to extend our condolences to the royal family, Zulu royal family, who recently lost their Queen Regent due to non-COVID illness. Honorable members, in implementing the DDM in the pilot sites, we have also committed to training more than 1,000 young people in partnership with the Department of Rural Development. We are pleased to give you progress and announce that so far, 554 young people have completed their training in agriculture-related areas, such as production and processing of maize, vegetables, beef, dairy, and pork. These young people will either be placed in agricultural institutions or will be supported to start community-based initiatives. 319 young people have been trained in a range of non-agricultural areas, including small business management, environmental waste management, hospitality, construction, and manufacturing. Of these young people, 73 have been provided business opportunities by the King Sabata Dalindyebo municipality. 25 have been absorbed by eThekwini Metro. 100 have been absorbed by the wholesale and retail sector, who will provide them with startup capital. In Waterberg, a further 53 young people are being trained in small business management, environment, waste management, and hospitality. Honorable members, in order to reverse the apartheid special planning legacy, we have allocated 2.9 billion in the MTSF period to the OR Tambo district. This allocation has enabled the implementation of 19 water projects, 12 sanitation projects, and 47 road projects. These will be complemented by 12 community implemented projects to the value of 173 million, including the secondary bulk water project in Mkandule. Indeed, we are hard at work through our recently launched partnership with the United Nations. We have assembled business solution centers. The centers will unlock the necessary value chains for decent work and sustainable development. Through the centers, community-driven businesses, SMEs, cooperatives will receive capacity building and support in areas such as agriculture, the oceans economy, tourism, energy, and green economy. We undertook visits to several districts, including Herigwala, Ilembe, Zululand, Alfred Nzo, in the Winnie Madikizela Mandela municipality, in Zululand, and OR. Together with the champions, some of these visits have been accompanied by the delivery of much-needed services. For instance, when we visited Abaqulusi local municipality in Zululand, there we launched the water supply infrastructure for Bokwe in Ward 5 in the Baqulusi local municipality. This innovative supply and water filter system cost a fraction of building dams and larger reservoirs. There is also a water treatment works plant in the benefit of the residents of Emondlo who live in Ward 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Honorable members, we are a responsive and caring government. And therefore, we've put aside close to 618.9 million in national and municipal allocations to address the water and sanitation challenges. Through this allocation, MISA and the Department of Water and Sanitation has impacted on 636,000 households in 205 municipalities. The households have been beneficiaries of the 15,487 water storage tanks, 1,382 water tankers, and 235 boreholes. But at the same time, honorable members, our visits have also brought to the fore the lived reality of water injustices, which are part of us as a result of us being the 30th driest nation in the world. This reality is compounded by the legacy of apartheid and the infrastructure maintenance shortcomings. These have resulted in residents of rural South Africa and less affluent areas having no access to water. To address this, we are pleased to announce that the meek receiving municipalities are now permitted to spend up to 10% of their budget in urgent water and sanitation repairs and refurbishment. This is over and above the 8% norm of maintenance work. Honorable members, we are also paying particular attention to closing the gender gap. This gap has seen an underrepresentation of women in all economic sectors and in the undervaluation of unpaid care work, which is largely conducted by women. Consequently, all the plans developed in the context of DDM carry with them the gender-responsive budget targets and indicators. If we cannot attach this gender approach to our activities and budgets, we will never be able to maintain sight on gender equality. For us, this is not an act of charity, but a recognition that no country can claim to be free until its women are free, as once said by President O.R. Tambo. By focusing on the interrelated pillars of skills revolution, unlocking economic value chains, social transformation, and service delivery enhancement, greater impact will be guaranteed. Ultimately, we intend to transform the economic landscape and ownership patterns in the districts. This we will achieve through creating a new crop of Black industrialists who will be at the forefront of creating local jobs and economic development. Already, honorable members, the National House of Traditional Leaders has launched the Invest Rural Master Plan, which seeks to optimize the rural industrial structure by availing 1.5 million hectares of land. The Invest Rural Master Plan will change the social and economic landscape of South Africa. It will reverse the colonial and apartheid-established migration patterns, such that people will migrate out of rural South Africa out of choice, not desperation. Deputy Minister Bapela will elaborate on this groundbreaking initiative. Honorable members, the Community Works Programme, with all its challenges, remains an important lifeline for a huge number of people. The key challenges in this program relate to the administration and model which favors a select few NGOs or NPOs. We have turned the corner with regards to the administrative challenges and are recording progress in key areas such as the on-time payment of participants. Additionally, we have enhanced the management information system so that it can interface with other government systems, such as the Home Affairs System and PESAL. This will enable us to identify fraudsters and corruption and corrupt officials in that system. Once we have finalized the remodeling, we will be able to identify and target community-based initiatives. Once identified, we intend to upskill the participants in key areas such as agriculture, paving of roads, fixing of potholes, fisheries, to name but a few. Once trained, we intend to exit the participants by providing them with employment supporting their SMMEs or cooperatives. In so doing, we'll be able to pave a way for new cycles of participants. This year, we have targeted 250,000 participants. Honorable members, the DDM sets us on a long-range planning path, which requires the attainment of short and medium-term goals. In this regard, work is afoot in the pilot sites where we are finalizing the one plans and one budget. The plans also make a case for the development of the oceans economy and South Africa's coastline. Consequently, the Premier of KZN in this year's State of the Province announced the development of the entire KZN Eastern Seaboard, which includes the districts of Uku, Ilembe, and King Cetshwayo. This development is to be complemented by the ongoing work undertaken in the Eastern Cape, part of which includes the Wild Coast and beyond. All this and all our plans will require interprovincial, intergovernmental planning, collaboration, and implementation. We've met with the two provinces separately, and we soon have a joint meeting, and then their districts. Last month, the Premier of Limpopo also convened the national and provincial political champions for the Limpopo districts. Going forward, we will prioritize the 10 poorest districts. The government cannot develop these localities alone. We need the inputs of our communities, civil society, private sector, investors, and international partners. Honorable members, According to Stats SAA, only 45% of households can keep up with the water payments. Unemployment is on the increase, with reaching the record high of 32.5, as is poverty, with 60% of our population living below the upper poverty line. This, together with the negative effects of COVID, has resulted in residents being unable to keep up with their payments. Thus, the debt to and by municipalities are on the rise. The increase of debt is also compounded by losses suffered by municipalities, which are as a result of not maintaining and repairing municipal infrastructure. For instance, municipalities buy water, but before they can sell it, a big proportion is lost through leaks and old pipes. To this end, we have agreed with the National Treasury that municipalities can use up to 10% of the 55.3 billion we have allocated for the various grants over the MTSF. The complexities of assessing these grants, the reallocation rebooks, and the historic underspending has also led to us to explore alternatives with the National Treasury. Honorable members, it is critical that the resources entrusted on us by the public are efficiently and effectively used. We are pleased to announce that the Department of Traditional Affairs and MISA have maintained their clean audits, and that the Department of Cooperative Governance has registered an improvement, moving from the disclaimer to a qualified audit. We are not yet there. We will not rest until all the departments receive unqualified and clean audits. Honorable members, the recent tropical cyclone Eloise visited 7 provinces and 31 of our districts, leaving behind untold destruction and hardship. 53 people have lost their lives and 3 people are still missing. And we wish to extend our condolences to those who have lost their loved ones. In future, we can avoid these miseries by strengthening our preventative and responsive measures. It is therefore important that the provinces and municipalities ensure that they do not build on flood lines, that they also assist communities to ensure the structures they construct are disaster and hazard resilient. All of us have the responsibility to heed the warning.
and understand their role in respect of municipal health services. The need for this became more evident last week, where the committee undertook a week-long oversight visit to the province of the Northwest. Not a single one of the 4 districts in the province were able to respond satisfactorily to the question posed in relation to their municipal health services function. And none of them had entered into service level agreements with their local municipality, including the Department of Health in this regard. The department must attend to this as a matter of urgency, especially this time when health risks. Our victory are the people's, which we, as the portfolio committee of this parliament, are the custodians of. Therefore, we want to welcome our chairperson, the commitment of the 44 district municipalities to reduce infrastructure backlogs and improve performance on the municipal infrastructure grant. We have had a series of engagements with a number of districts and local municipalities, and the question of support by MISA has come up repeatedly. A major concern has been around the capacity constraints at MISA, including shortage of personnel, which has seen instances where there are only 4 engineers available to support a whole province. The department must also give this urgent attention to the matter and follow up in its previous pronouncement relating to the capacitating of the municipal infrastructure support agent. As we conduct oversight on behalf of our people, particularly the women, the poor, and the marginalized, we do justice by highlighting various concerns. Our major concern with the Department of Cooperative Governance is around the community's work program. On numerous occasions, the committee has requested specific information to help us understand better the challenges facing the program and provide the necessary oversight. We therefore implore and appeal to the department to strive to work with us in this regard. Honorable members, Chapter 12 of our beloved Constitution epitomises dignity for our traditional systems, which we embrace as a facet of our modern democracy and an important vehicle for social reconstruction. We note the priorities of the Department of Traditional Affairs for the period under review, including the extensive emphasis on the role of the institution of traditional leadership in curbing the spread of COVID-19 pandemic, gender-based violence, femicide, violence against the LGBTQ+ community, and promoting gender representation and women empowerment within the structures of traditional leadership. On its recent oversight to the Northwest, this portfolio committee has found that there's still much to be done to support the institution of traditional leadership as to enable it to have a meaningful role in government operations. The other issue that is of critical importance, honorable members, none of the 22 municipalities which we visited in the province of the Northwest were not aware of the coming into effect of the Traditional and Quiescent Leadership Bill, which became Act 2019, and its implication for municipal operation, including the standing orders of councils. This points to insufficient public education and training on the part of the Department of Traditional Affairs, as well as inadequate preparation for the implementation of the Act. The Department of Traditional Affairs must therefore ratify this as a matter of urgency, as recommended in the committee's oversight report. This House, honorable members, recently passed the Customary Initiation Bill, which aims to address the scourge of fatalities and injuries resulting from the corruption of male cultural initiation custom in certain parts of the country. We are very sad to note that 13 initiates yet again lost their lives over the December initiation season in the Eastern Cape. The department must therefore follow up on its resolution to ensure that those who insisted on the resumption of initiation in the province take responsibility for these deaths. In this year of Charlotte Matleke, we salute all leaders and foot soldiers that fought for our freedoms over many decades, which culminated into our victorious and world-class constitution. Amongst many of its highlights, it guarantees cultural, religious, and linguistic rights. We note, therefore, the challenges impeding the CRL Rights Commission from fulfilling its mandate optimally, as indicated in its annual performance plan. These are not new challenges, as they have also been raised in previous annual performance plan as far as back the third administration. The issue of inadequate funding in particular underpins most of the difficulty facing the Commission. We have therefore committed ourselves using every opportunity to advocate for increased funding to the Commission as to reduce the mismatch between the Commission's social cohesion mandate vis-a-vis the financial resources at its disposal. At the same time, we urge the Commission to address the matters that are within its sphere of control, such as developing a clear resource mobilization strategy and preventing irregular expenditure. As we recognize the injustice of the past and honor those who have suffered for justice and freedom in our land, we also recognize the need to manage municipal boundaries. The Municipal Demarcation Board has demonstrated its commitment towards ensuring that the demarcation of municipal boundaries results in creation of sustainable municipalities that can fulfill their constitutional obligation. However, there is still much to be done to make this commitment a reality. During our recent engagement with most of the municipalities that has been subject of demarcation during 2016 local government electoral cycle, the predominant view was that the demarcation process has tended to worsen rather than improve municipal financial viability. Consequently, the board has been presented with demands of the reversal of this demarcation. We call upon the executive authority to accelerate the process of amending the Municipal Demarcation Act in order to deal decisively with these challenges. Finally, we note the critical gaps in the legislative environment that prevent the South African Local Government Association from maximizing the impact of the support provided to municipalities, particularly the support provided to municipalities which lack of legal provision for extending the SALGA to the reports contemplated in Section 106 of the Municipal Systems Act and Section 71 of the Municipal Finance Management Act. This is a very serious shortcoming, as we've witnessed a lack of appetite for the implementation of the Section 106 recommendation by municipality, as well as poor utilization by municipality, as well as poor utilization of early Section 71 reports as early warning mechanism. In conclusion, Honorable Member, I wish to thank the Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, the Commission, the Demarcation Board, MISA, and SALGA for the cordial and constructive engagement. This contribution has made our work very easier. And then I want to also thank the colleagues as well as the committee support staff, which with their support. The committee therefore support budget vote 4 and vote 3 and 15. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. The next speaker is the Honorable Sid Brank.
Thank you, Chairperson. Recently, the two words step aside have gained new political meaning in South Africa. Step aside, says the Getleng River Residents Association to their local municipality in the Northwest. Says Astral Foods to Lekwa local municipality in Mpumalanga. Says municipalities run by the Democratic Alliance in the Western Cape to Eskom. Step aside so we can relieve the ANC of the responsibility of government and ensure that water is clean, money is well spent to the benefit of the poor, and that load shedding doesn't destroy businesses and jobs. Step aside because enough time and money and human potential have been wasted by factionalism, tribalism, and greed. Following the leadership of the country bottom up, President Cyril Ramaphosa is now telling some of his own comrades to step aside. And when the president implores people to vote against corrupt leaders, we can only wonder which party the president will be left to canvass for in October's local government election. Step aside is also the message implicit in the latest Municipal Financial Sustainability Index produced by Ratings Africa. They say that troubled municipalities need a 51 billion rand bailout from national government to survive a liquidity crisis. The minister, her department responsible for supporting municipalities, did not make mention of this today. The DA has fought against money being diverted from basic services to bail out SAA and other zombie state-owned entities. But this does not mean that municipalities should now be bailed out. If a municipality is run by a mayor and municipal manager who are corrupt or incompetent, giving that municipality more money will only increase its output of irregular, fruitless, and wasteful expenditure. To prevent the financial and institutional collapse of municipalities, we need to dig deeper. We need to go back to the beginning of democratic local government. To quote Aristotle, the mistake lies in the beginning. Well begun is half done. So an error at the beginning, though quite small, has the proportion of a half of the whole matter. So as to the question, what were the errors at the beginning of democratic local government? Here are the answers. Mistake number one, cadre deployment, an ANC policy adopted at Mafeking in 1997 for the stated purpose of subsuming the state under the party. If politicians want to advance their party political agenda, they must stand for parliament or provincial legislature or the local council. People should not be appointed based on a political loyalty as municipal managers, CFOs, chief engineers, and city planners. These jobs require non-political skills and attitudes. The ban on municipal officials holding political office in a party, a provision of the Municipal Systems Amendment Act passed late last year, is a step in the right direction. But the shameless defense by President Ramaphosa of this unconstitutional practice at the Zondo Commission is a cause for serious concern. Mistake number two, race-based employment equity plans, a requirement of the Employment Equity Act of 2001. It doesn't matter whether you apply regional or national racial targets in appointing and promoting municipal officials. The effect is to narrow the pool of skills and expertise available in local government. Take municipalities in the Northwest and the Free State, for example. They'll struggle to promote engineers and financial managers who happen to be of Indian descent into top management positions without flunking their own race-based employment equity plans. This is because South Africans of Indian descent, according to the demeaning rule of racial demographic representativity, make up less than 5% of the economically active population in those provinces. And yet, I can wager that people who live in a bankrupt, broken municipality could not care less about the race of their local municipal officials, only that those officials are competent. And mistake number three, BEE and preferential procurement, a combination of cadre deployment and race quotas in the spending of government money. These policies do not empower ordinary people. They further enable state capture, elite enrichment, and the breakdown of services and infrastructure. These policies also prevent municipalities from compensating
attacked at his house at some point to stop him investigating corruption that is still taking place in this municipality of eThekwini. Matlosana local municipality and many other municipalities owe Eskom millions of rands and owe water boards even more millions. The money is spent on electricity and water, but is never paid to Eskom or water boards. While our people do not have water, electricity, money is just being looted left and right. You begin to ask yourself if the council cannot meet to take decision, Chairperson. How do they perform their work as public representatives to service communities? People of Northwest as the province is under administration. The Northwest as a province is under administration, and the people are suffering due to corruption. And because people, they don't have electricity, infrastructure is collapsing, there are no roads, there is no water, people are just suffering. This is not the case in Northwest alone, but is common across all provinces. In some of the municipalities there in Northwest, Chairperson, is madness, is totally madness. We were told that in Ratlo, in Tswaing, in Disobotla municipalities, they have 2 mayors. We simply don't have capable leaders. The ruling party has lost control of all of this. The chairperson in the portfolio committee of COCTA asked mayors during the oversight and municipal managers during the oversight if they have read the Municipal Systems Act. And all of them, ngaphandle kwamahloni, all of them, they are not even ashamed, Chair, to admit that they have not read it. But these are the people entrusted with the responsibilities of leading the municipalities. The Auditor General pointed out to large sum of money that are used on consultants in all municipalities across the country. But still, the financial systems of municipalities are far from improvements. At one point, we were told that in Northwest, people are buying certificates to become CFOs. They are buying these certificates from the province of Eastern Cape and is well known in the Northern Cape, but there is nothing that is being happening in order to bring these stacks to books. Wasteful expenditure, irregular expenditure, unauthorized and fruitless expenditure accounts for billions. And these municipalities are ensuring that MPEC and disciplinary boards are permanently dysfunctional to write off these billions through council resolution at the end. At the end, no one will be held accountable for this plain looting. A case in point is the chair of MPEC of Umbashem local municipality. During our portfolio committee meeting, she couldn't explain how did MPEC decides written off UIFW. It was a disgrace. Collapsed local government must be blamed squarely for the failure of the ruling party. There is no political will to remove and replace the corrupt ANC deployees. Since we arrived here in Parliament as the EFF since 2014, we have outlined a clear, cogent, and practical way out of this mess we found ourselves in. We started the clear call for revision of the Division of Revenue Bill to solve the systematic budget allocation issues, to ensure that we deal with unfunded mandates of basic service delivery in local government and solve apartheid spatial planning. We said you cannot solve local government spatial challenges without resolving the land question. Municipalities need land to build infrastructure, to build water pipes, to build sanitation and sewer pipes, to build recreational facilities. But also, we need to resolve land questions so that we repurpose local government into a sphere of economic activities. Each and every municipality must be an economic hub on its own to create jobs, employ people, and people will in future be able to pay for their services. We must appoint only qualified people to work in municipalities, engineers, artisans, town planners, geographers, and other skilled professions, and do away with outsourcing of basic services. I think it's disingenuous for the minister to come here and announce a new program that is a joint program with the Department of Agriculture. We just have to ask the minister as to what happened to community work program that we always demand answers from the department, and up to still to date, we have not get satisfactory answers about the community work program that is an initiative of the department. This is costing millions of taxpayers, and the department is failing to account for this.
Honorable Mutaliti.
But Chairperson, I have 7 minutes. I've spoken on 6 minutes, Chair.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So let alone the program is used by the ANC to isolate the needy community members who qualifies for it. The minister is not prioritizing this issue, let alone that the community, the members of the members of the committee in the portfolio committee have been raising this issue now and again since we are demanding to note what happens with this program that's supposed to go and help people on the ground. So the minister can't come here and then announce on the new program in total. So we need the minister to account for this program first before she comes here and announce on a new initiative by the department. We reject this budget, Chairperson. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sorry about that. Thank you very much. The next speaker is from the IFP, the Honorable S.A. Buthelezi. The Honorable Buthelezi. Do we have Honorable Buthelezi?
Chairperson, may I intervene? I'm sorry, it's the Honorable van der Merwe from the IFP.
Yes, Honorable Member.
Chairperson, please maybe proceed to the next speaker. Our speaker got logged out due to connection issues. So if we could just come back later. I'm sorry about that, Chairperson.
Okay. Thank you very much, Honorable Member. FF Plus, Meneer Groenewald.
I lead. Honorable Chairperson, if we look at local government, the correct recipe should be a balance of community needs versus that of the available resources to ultimately serve residents in a said border. The Constitution states the core function of a municipality, how it should spend its resources, protect the environment and its obligation toward the residents. Die realiteit is echter dat plaaslike regering totaal misluk. Munisipaliteite is bankrot, skuld wil krediteer miljarde, basiese dienste soos watervoorsiening en vullisverwydering vind nie plaas nie, terwyl munisipaliteite verantwoordelik is vir die besoedeling van skaars waterbronne. Die rede vir hierdie mislukking is nie 'n tekort aan fondse nie en is ook nie apartheid nie. The reason for incomplete infrastructure projects is not insufficient funds, it is rather the mismanagement of funds and corruption. One example is the 8 megalitre sewage plant that is being constructed in an Lady municipality northwest. The plant's construction has already cost an exorbitant 120 million, but there is further funding needed to complete the project. This new plant has thus been standing dormant for the last 18 months due to the inflated cost of the plant and poor planning. Municipalities should prioritize infrastructure that already exists and not only new capital projects. Municipalities should be the custodians of infrastructure and assets on behalf of the communities they serve. There's a lack of routine maintenance and municipalities fail to safeguard infrastructure from the vandalism, theft and destruction. In Matlusana, sports stadiums have been robbed of all copper cables and buildings burned to such an extent that these facilities cannot be used. Gemeenskapsale word geplunder en stuk vir stuk weggedra. Waterpype en kleppe word gesteel wat tot waterlekke en vermorsing van honderde duisende liter water lei. Munisipale werkers word deur bendes geïntimideer en daar word selfs munisipale amptenare vermoor. Hiervan as gevolg van ANC faksiegevegte. Faksiegevegte terwyl betalende inwoners geen dienste ontvang. Faksiegevegte terwyl die armste van die armste daaronder ly, want vir 27 jaar het die regering eerder gesteel as om dienste aan hierdie gemeenskappe te lewer en omstandighede te verbeter. The infighting is about who and which faction remains in power or can get power in order for them to can help themselves and their cadres to taxpayers' hard-earned money and deprive the poorest of the poor from basic services. Local government is currently in crisis management mode. There is an action when the crisis had already happened. There are many looming crises. Sinkholes which are left to get bigger, sewage leakages which are left to pump millions of liters of sewage into water sources. Landfill sites which do not comply with the relevant legislation prescripts, refuge which are not regularly removed, creating serious health risks for residents, animals, and the environment. The non-compliance to laws and regulation leaves local government unaccountable to people and non-transparent. For years has been a complete lack of consequent management. There is no consequences for officials who transgress or mismanage. It seems as though the ANC government of municipalities regard the constitution and legislation as toilet paper. Daar's goeie wetgewing munisipale finansiële en algemene bestuur bepaal. Daar's egter bitter min voldoening hieraan. Selfs munisipaliteite se eie bywette word deur munisipale administrasies geïgnoreer. Waarvoor gebruik die ANC aanspreekleerders hierdie wetgewing? toilet paper. An accountable local government is where appointed officials are done based on merit, where a qualified person is appointed, and where service contractors are also appointed based on if they will be able to provide the service and their cost effectiveness. Stop affirmative action appointments, cadre deployment, and BEE. These policies are breeding ground for corruption and ineffective local government, which do not deliver basic services. The majority of municipalities have recently tabled proposed increases of 20% in electricity tariffs. This is unsustainable and will result in even more job losses and failed businesses. In these dire circumstances, an environment should be created to sustain private enterprise by rates and taxes relief rather than increases. If corruption and inflated prices of procurement stops, this would be possible. Increases in tariffs while service is not delivered, people are expected to pay more for something they do not receive. If drastic changes do not occur, the future looks bleak. The Constitutional Court ruling in the case of Radaman versus Makwakwa municipality should be noted. No money is due and payable to municipality for services not rendered. Municipalities are too big. We need smaller municipal units where service delivery is nearer to the people. Honourable Minister, you are lying to South Africa. The government is not a caring government. It's a government in chaos. Die enigste oplossing vir mislukking van munisipaliteite is op 27 Oktober. Kiesers moet opstaan, saamstaan en sterk staan om van die onbevoegde ANC-regering ontslae te raak. Thank you.
I'm not lying.
Honorable Groenewald, I would really advise you that one should always refrain from using a language that is offensive to say another member is lying. It is unparliamentary. It is unparliamentary, Honorable Groenewald. And it should have been withdrawn.
Chairperson, if the Minister can show me a municipality that's actually working, then I'll withdraw.
Honorable Member.
Point of order.
Could you please withdraw that and please do it unconditionally? I'd really appreciate that so that we can continue with our debate.
Sorry, Chairperson, but I will not withdraw because it's the truth.
Honorable Member, out of order. Okay. Who's making a point of order?
It's Member Papo. The member is defying the ruling of a presiding officer, violating the rules on parliamentary language. I think, presiding officer, you have to make a decision on such a member remaining in the meeting for defying your ruling.
Thank you, Honorable Papo. I was just about to make Honorable Groenewald aware that what he is doing is unacceptable, and I would therefore request him to be withdrawn from this platform unless he changes his mind and withdraw. Honorable Groenewald, I'm giving you another chance. Pardon me?
I will not withdraw, Chair. It is the truth.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Honorable Groenewald. I will request IT to remove Honorable Groenewald from the platform. I'm sure IT has taken care of that. We now move to the Deputy Minister, the Honorable Deputy Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Thank you very much. The Minister of COGTA, Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, Honorable Chairperson and members of the Portfolio Committee, Honorable members of Parliament and Deputy Ministers that have joined us, Chairperson of the National House of Traditional and Cohesion Leaders, Nkosi Mahlangu, Chairperson of the Commission of the Promotion and Protection of Rights of Cultural, Religious and Linguistic Communities, Prof. Musoma, members of the Provincial Executive Committee, COGTA and COGSTA, Chairperson of the Municipal Demarcation Board and its members, President of South African Local Government Association, Director Generals of DCOG and DTA, Ms. Avril Williamson and Mr. Mashwatli Dipofa, CEO of MISA and Head of the National Disaster Management Center. Ladies and gentlemen, yesterday, May 12, we celebrated the International Nurses Day under the theme, #We Answer the Call. The theme serves in great honor of Umama Charlotte Manyama-Kleke, a selfless first female Black graduate. She obtained a BSc degree from Wilberforce University, Ohio in 1903, at the time when African women were treated as fourth-class non-citizens on account of the triple oppression of race, class, and gender. This year, we celebrate the life and times of Charlotte Manyama-Kleke, our struggle stalwart, who is a giant and a trailblazer in her own right. I present Budget 3 and 15 under the backdrop of hard-hitting economic challenges amid the worldwide pandemic of coronavirus, COVID-19 as we know it. As a country, we have mourned the passing of nearly 54,900 of our fellow South Africans as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. The told and untold damage caused by COVID-19 has left deep scars in our pained society. Many have lost loved ones, income, jobs, livelihoods, and businesses. However, because we are a resilient nation in possession of a fighting spirit, we dare not lose hope. To call the words of the Nobel laureate Archbishop Desmond Tutu, who reminded us that, and I quote, "Hope is being able to see that there is light despite all the darkness," close quote. A guiding and caring light during these trying times have been the brave and fearless frontline workers whom we expressed our deep gratitude for the important work they continue to undertake. Honorable members, we also salute all local government essential service workers who remain steadfast at the front line of our fight against COVID-19. Thanks to the everyday efforts of these workers, we have lights, clean water, refuse is being collected, and most streets are clean. We are cognizant to the fact that the economic challenges have had a great negative effect on local government. Consequently, we are working together for the economic recovery and renewal plan to take root in the municipality so as our people can get jobs. And with that, our communities will be able to pay for their municipal services and thus improve on the local government revenue. During the 2015 budget vote, we committed to the finalization of the Traditional and Quiescent Leadership Governance Bill to give effect to an effective milestone in the history of our democracy, which is the recognition and affirmation of quiescent leadership structures and communities. The year 2021 is of a particular importance to traditional and special quiescent communities and their
Honorable Minister, we have lost the DM. Honorable Mapela.
Yes, I am still here. Can you see?
Okay, Honorable.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Yes, I can hear you. Please go ahead.
Chair, I'm not locked out. I'm still on. Am I audible?
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Can you go ahead, DM?
My apology on the unstable network. The recognition of the quiescent means they will. Thank you. Can you hear me now? I can continue. The recognition of the recognition of. Thank you very much. The recognition of the quiescent means they will have their identity similar to the other indigenous groups in South Africa. They will also promote and protect their own customs, traditions, and cultures. They will also establish their own communities and claim land that belongs to them for such establishments. Also, they will develop their own language until it is used also for learning purposes, where they can now print their own literature, the Bible, the dictionary, and later into the textbooks when it is ready to be taught in schools, including the national radio stations that needs to be also be established. We have started with provincial roadshows as part of consultations on the new legislation. The aim of this engagement is to discuss with the quiescent communities on the process to be undertaken to facilitate the recognition of the quiescent communities as per the provision of the TKLA. The Act will also close gaps in the current legislation and will strengthen the developmental role that the institution plays in traditional communities. We also note and welcome the new program instituted by the National Traditional and Quiescent Leaders called the Developmental Monarchs. It comes at a time when the TKLA itself emphasizes on a new model of encouraging partnerships for development which will benefit their communities. For an example, the mining activities, forestry, fishing, cultural heritage, golden economic activities, all of them will have to take a new way of partnerships that benefits largely their communities. Honorable members, in March this year, Cabinet reaffirmed the resolution of the 2017 Traditional and Quiescent Leaders in Daba on land administration, land tenure reform in communal areas, which was the fundamental demand for land to be transferred to communities under the custodian of traditional leaders. Cabinet further resolved that the process of consultation on the land consultation must and will lead the Department of Agriculture, led by the Department of Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural, as the custodian of land held in trust on behalf of the communities, needs to be embarked upon so that we could then conclude on the consultation that will culminate on the land in Daba during the month of September 2021. Honourable members, traditional leaders continue to play an active role in the implementation of the Agrarian Revolution program in addressing food security and unemployment, thus improving livelihoods of our rural communities. In the previous financial year, the department embarked on a process of remodeling the Agrarian Revolution program. As such, the department has signed an MOU with the Department of Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development. This approach between us and integrated the economy and developmental role played by the rural community